which content creator will stand out in the oversaturated market. 2023 marked a pivotal change in the social media industry where the apps have become more media than they are social. And as that evolution has progressed, it has, instead of there being a single content king app, each of these apps has developed a specific type of viewer. And 2024 is now where content creators figure out which platforms that they want to focus monetization on. And as saturation has hit peak level across all these apps, including TikTok, it's all about quality over quantity. If you want to stand out in this super saturated, intense competitive market, either as a brand or as a content creator where you're building out your content universe, stick around as we talk about the trends and the change of the landscape. Hello, happy human and happy 2024. If you do not know me, my name is Roarn, like Lauren with an R, and I am a human-centered marketing advisor. And my nerdiness is all about analyzing the upcoming and latest trends in the market. As I always say, social media is a reflection of human society and human preferences and thinking. And if you can figure out social media, then you can get a pulse sense of how the world is evolving. Top trends to consider to understand of the total environment of the marketing realm, with a heavy emphasis on social media since it is still the primary communication form. And if you want a full breakdown of how the platforms are going to operate each this year, go ahead and sign up for my newsletter and get my social media reads annual report where I read how each of the social media platforms will operate this year. First trend is that consumers are searching for community, and I specifically mean core communities. Now, the term community has been thrown around and tossed around day in and day out in marketing all day long, but we're talking about specific core communities, aka core niches. And that is because as human beings, since the pandemic, we have realized that there's a huge void in a sense of belonging. Now have the freedom to be able to figure out which community is truly our vibe and which communities that we are vibing with and can be a part of. And it goes deeper beyond the basic things. So rather than hashtag cottagecore, a hashtag eclectic grandpa, it all depends above on all of those. And while I do say it's about community, these are still entertainment apps and that is their intention. What has evolved for consumers is that rather than switching channels on TV, they're just swiping through the different social media platforms to gain a sense of community on specific topics that they like or explore new topics, but they explore it in totally different feeds. Your feed on Instagram might be at the aesthetic food, the house decor, the inspo that you can then save onto your Pinterest, whereas your TikTok is more about conversations and topics and the philosophies of humanity of a FaceTiming talk-to-talk people. And then on your YouTube is like a full deep dive nerdiness of documentaries, content, or true crime documentaries and everything in between. We're able to, as consumers, to be able to get at the whole entire world through 3 totally different formats of expression by just simply switching through different apps, which is even bigger of a difference than if you go between the streaming services of like Netflix versus Disney. Biggest game changer in consumer trends is that search engines aren't the main usage point anymore. Instead, you have about half of Gen Z and younger using TikTok and Instagram as their search engine of choice because of the way they are presented in content that they digest. They don't want to read an article, they want to watch a video and get a sense of it. And because TikTok and Instagram is the place where all the short form content comes in, also why YouTube doubled down on YouTube Shorts. YouTube is owned by Google and Google needs to be able to present the style of format of content that people are looking for as they're searching and exploring the world. SEO is now the primary way that your content actually gets sorted in the algorithm, as most of these social media apps shift into using AI. A lot of the way that the algorithm understands your content isn't hashtags, it is the way that you use your wording and your languaging of embedded SEO in all of these apps. So it's less about a conversation in captions and more about how you can optimize into the algorithm itself. The conversation starts in the content of this video, specifically in the first 6 seconds. And those first 3 to 6 seconds is the only time that you have to catch someone's attention. So rather than talking in a storytelling linear way, spill the tea, and then give the backstory. Because people want to know why they should listen to the whole entire story in the first place, and they only have 6 seconds before they subconsciously just swipe past you. As a content creator, being strategic in what you use in captions to capture someone's attention. And one of the best ways to capture someone's attention is replying to a comment in one of your videos, because it continues the conversation, but it actually has already a built-in audience towards not only that follow-up video that you do, but the previous video, because it's all about people continuing the conversation as they spilled the tea. And that then expands into the rabbit hole of long-form content. Long-form content is making a comeback in these apps. TikTok is trying to figure out a way to monetize itself properly to doing mid-ad rolls into their content, hence why they're focusing on long-form content and aiming to make sure that you have 1+ minute videos. So as a content creator, it's about one mindset. What does my content universe look like? What is the rainfall effect? Your larger messaging that rolls down into your long form content, that rolls into these short clips that point back to your long form content. You can make short clips that reference back to your long form content. It's about creating this rabbit hole effect, because in the rabbit hole effect, as they listen and consume more of your content, the more trust you're building with that audience, the more likely they are to follow you. When I say long form content, it can include everything from a long form video like this all the way to podcasts as well. And there's no one true long form content or short form content that fits everyone. Long form content like this in marketing and trends work well for my content and presenting trends to you. But if I'm talking about a deep conversation about how do we build a company structure and environment that boosts creatives, that's a conversation that is best done in a vidcast or podcast format, in a conversation with someone else, because we're talking about deep human experiences and storytelling, and it all ties into the content universe. That's what I'm trying to emphasize. Like, your content universe is about tying of topics throughout your content that ties back to your brand, not just simply like, let me post a short form video here, let me post a meme video here, let me post XYZ here. They all thematically still need to tie back into your brand. And in the content universe, video reigns supreme, all the way down to now that the trending memes are in video content. And if you are a K-pop fan and K-drama fan, you already are aware of this. It's like the best way to see the world and know what dramas are a part of. And B-roll content with POV is a great way for you to do easy content as a creator, where you're still having the optimization of video, and it creates a jumping off point to have conversations in comments without it being so intensely thought out like a long form video like this. There's a rise of the creator entrepreneur. Let me explain. The next era of entrepreneurs is not selling a product or a service. They are selling IP. They are selling thought leadership, thinking and theories and thoughts. And it shows up in the creator. These influencers and creators have actually built out their brand and content universe in the form very similar to an artist or a celebrity. And if you watch the journey of celebrities and artists as they expand their brand, they're actually business owners. And all of their popularity hinges on the value of their brand as a person. So they are the face of the company, their trust with their audience, right? The brand value comes from the trust with their audience. This applies to any brand, whether it is a personal brand like these IP creators or traditional product and service brands that exist out there. And as the wild, wild west of influencers and creators become more regulated, like FTC coming in and talking about needing to actually disclaim when they do ads. And we had the big scandals of last year with like Lashgate. When you do a hashtag ad on a video, the algorithm specifically pushes it down because they don't want you to do an organic post with a hashtag ad and they don't get any money in the pot. And because they're forced into that catch-22, they create to where a lot of their content is not disclosed properly. And so all of this to say is that as the brand of a creator continues to ride and they realize that their original content can actually be sold as original content, not just for influencer and ad placements, because that revenue stream is starting to decrease, you're starting to see a whole new business model coming out for IP entrepreneurs. And all to say, with all of these trends, as consumers are searching for belonging and community, and the app is becoming super saturated as there's more and more content creators out there who think that they can make this as a business model for themselves, is that quality is what shines. Quality content that reflects the human connection that consumers are seeking for, that is what stands out on these apps. And what that most importantly brings down to for actual brands is that faceless product era of a brand is going away. Literally means like you can't just have a static photo of someone holding a product anymore. Like that is stale. It is faceless. It's stale and sterile and lacks the human connection. Even a user-generated content video of someone having their hands in a POV, that's a more intimate, because it's like, this is a look between my eyes experience, and less of like this beautifully designed advertising video of format. And it's not to say that those type of photography doesn't have a place for it, because that still is a great way to have it on a website designed 100% for sales, but on social media that's supposed to reflect the heart and soul of a company, that doesn't really have a place anymore. Because of that, you're starting to see this shift of advertising dollars being removed from traditional advertising styles like I talked about, to focusing way more on not just influencer dollars, but UGC content creator dollars. Perfect example is that instead of investing in a person to make a commercial that's like kind of faceless, they invest in working with a creator who shows the behind the scenes of them making the commercial, and therefore you have a human being talking through and building that personal experience. They still get the commercial grade content that they want to run for Super Bowl or streaming ads or TV ads, but they also get the social aspect by having a human being talk about the socialization of the content itself. And that is a huge shift that we're seeing. It's also why in the last month, if you haven't noticed, a lot of the ads that you're seeing doesn't actually look like an ad anymore. It actually looks more like something that you see from another creator on there. It's because brands are realizing and doubling down that traditional faceless commercial advertising doesn't work anymore, but a human being saying how much they love the specific product or watching the product in action with someone's hand is way more personal, and therefore naturally builds trust. Like, people don't realize it's a sponsored ad unless they look at the bottom and read sponsored anymore. So we've covered a lot in the ever-changing landscape of social media and marketing in general. Briefly touched on things like AI, Meta, etc. Those are still further to be discussed moving forward as the year progresses. However, if you're like, what is my bottom line from all this information given? 3 key things. First thing is, being human is not optional anymore. Creating a FaceTime experience, a vulnerable experience, a personal one-to-one touch experience. We are so inundated with information and content every single day that if you're not showing across as personable, you will be swiped past. And that starts with number 2, which is tuning in with your audience. How you actually act, walk, and talk resonates with a variety of different people. And so really being clear and noticing the language and style that they use versus and how you can relate to them. Third is stop with the linear storytelling. Get to the point and then give me the backstory. Because if I'm not invested into the point of the whole entire damn idea, I ain't gonna keep listening. Thank you guys so much. Let me know if you have any comments or questions below about social media, and be sure to download my 2024 social media reads report where I break down how to optimize based on each specific platform. Thanks so much. I hope you have a great day, and remember, influence happens one drop at a time. Bye.